嗨，大家好，欢迎大家来到第7次的 G.R.M.T 连结内在真我读书会。然后我们今天要讨论的是，我们拥有哪些信念会摧毁我们的自信，还有关于我们在小时候就是受到父母的一些可能不被支持的一些情况，然后会持续影响着我们现在的日常生活选择。对。那我们就欢迎洛伊老师。嗨。
嗨，
Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. Great to have you here. Okay, so we will continue tonight talking about the content, talking about the What Do You Really Want book. And we are now up to chapter 5, the beliefs that destroy confidence. And so this chapter is dealing with a bunch of beliefs that we can take on that have a negative effect on our confidence in ourselves and the world, functioning in the world. So it looks at what are the beliefs that are not good for us that we can accept, and it looks at some different beliefs that we can think about. Do you want to say that in Mandarin? How did that go, Doris? Did you get what I was talking about?
I miss it.
Oh, you miss it. Okay, I'll just say again briefly then. So this chapter is just what this chapter is about. This chapter is about things we believe, that we learn to believe about ourselves and about life, that don't help our confidence, that really destroy it.
就是我们现在来到了第5章，然后我们可能有学到某一些信念，它是就是根植在我们的信念里面，但是它可能会摧毁我们的自信的一些信念。
Yep. Okay. So that's what we'll talk about. And I'd like it to, we just got a few people here, and I'd like to have it. And so, Doris, I think your English is good enough. So we can have a bit of a conversation. So where I would like to start is I have been thinking quite a bit the last few days about the issue of being approved of and disapproved of. So approval and disapproval during our early years, childhood years, growing up.
就是那个老师前几天一直在想说，就是在我们童年时期啊，我们到底有哪些行为是被支持的，还有不被支持的。
Yeah. Okay. Because I just realizing that too, that other people will be listening to this, so we do need to do the Mandarin. Yeah. So I've been thinking about this idea of being approved of as children and being disapproved of. So approval meaning that, and we're talking about parents, children, us as children and our parents, and it can be others, it can be teachers as well in the school system. And approval being that the idea I approve of you. So approval, do you want to, how does that translate the word approval into Mandarin?
支持或是赞成
不赞成。
赞成的或是对。
Yeah. The idea that that our action is acceptable to the other. What we're doing is acceptable.
同意就是好像翻同意比较顺。
真的哦。
It's like agree.
it's agree that it's okay what I'm doing. So if I was being approved of, it's like a tick, you know, it's like a stamp. It's like, okay, you know, what you're doing is okay. That's like, it's I approve of it. It's like I accept it as okay. It meets my standard. If you know, if I'm saying I approve of this, I'm saying that, yeah, that thing, I approve of it, which means it meets my level, what I expect. It meets my standard.
所以 approval 就是我们觉得 OK 的，还有可以的那个标准。
Yeah. Yeah, and so that's approval. So then the idea of disapproval is the idea that if I disapprove of something, it means that that thing is not reaching my standard. It's not okay.
所以如果你是不赞同的话，就代表说那一件事情或是那一个信念是没有达到我的标准。
Yeah. And so then we have to ask, so if we're thinking about this, if we start to think about the idea of approval and disapproval, meeting a standard or not meeting a standard, we have to start to ask, what's the criteria for the standard? You know, what is it based on? If I'm going to say, I approve of you, what's my criteria for that? You know, what is it that I'm asking, or what is it I'm expecting? And if I disapprove of you, what is it I'm wanting that I'm not seeing? So I think it's like, yeah, we still have to have a look at what is this idea of being approved of or disapproved of? What does that mean? What does that mean for us? What's the kind of like, is that an important question to ask? What is this experience of being approved of, or what is this experience of being disapproved of? What is it that's being disapproved of? What is it that is being approved of? So I thought that we could probably just start out with let's see if we can start out. Or do you want to say something about that, Bonnie, that I just said there? So basically it's like, is it something important to ask about what is being approved of? What is that? What is being disapproved of? And what is it that we are doing that is approved of or not approved of? What's the standard or the criteria for this approval to get it? Something along those lines.
就是这边老师要跟大家分享，就是我们每个人都有一个那个标准的系统，然后觉得什么是 OK， 什么是不 OK， 然后这样你就可以回推到说，那你怎么会形成这个？是什么形成了你的这个标准？然后它的基地是什么？然后你在那个日常生活中的时候，你有哪些经验是觉得是被赞同的，或是哪些状况是不被赞同的？那这个到底是来自于哪里？对，是我们今天要探讨的重点。OK。
Yep. So I thought that what we could to make it I think the subject of the topic, it's not so straightforward, and it sort of takes a little bit of like, we need to think about it a little bit and ask questions like, if we are being, you know, what is the condition of being approved of? What is it that I am meant to be doing to be acceptable? What is it I'm meant to be doing to reach this standard that I, you know, may not know about? What is it going to take? And so I thought that we could just start out with maybe just like our own experience and yeah.
就是我们到底应该要做什么才是会被赞同或是会被接受的？那我们可以来就是讨论一下，大家可以想一下，就是有什么样的状况。
For example.
So for example, so if we just start out with like, if we just think about what is it to be, what is disapproval? And if we just kind of like, let's just explore that experience or that idea of disapproval. And if we each just say something about what kind of comes to our thinking if we think about childhood, being a child and being disapproved of. So if we started there and we just got each of us just to share what comes to our thinking when we think about that. And it can be anything, but the idea is to share something. The idea of sharing something is really just to give our mind an opportunity to start to explore this idea, because right now we probably, we're just touching it. So it's like, okay, let's see if we can start to get comfortable with looking at this idea of disapproval as a starting place. So I thought if we each share, what is it when we think about our child and we think about being disapproved of? What was happening in our childhood that we know that we got disapproved of, which means what did our parents really not like us doing that we were doing or wanting to do, but it's like, no, something like that. We can just start anywhere.
就是请大家可以想一下，你可能小时候做什么事情是不被允许的，就是大人会跟你说不要做那个，不要这样，或是怎么样，就是你做了，然后被人家责骂，或是对，就是大家可以分享一下，那这样会帮助我们的大脑开始去探索到底我们有哪一些隐藏的信念，然后现在还是一直在影响我们。
我先好了，我想到一个。
You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say Mandarin first.
Yeah. Okay.
就是我记得我小时候就是很喜欢去尝试一些比较冒险的活动，比如说骑摩托车走中横啊，或者是什么骑摩托车环岛啊之类的这一种。然后我每次就是很兴奋的跟我爸分享我即将要去做的这一件我觉得很兴奋的事情，可是他就会说很危险啊，他就会阻止我或是劝我不要去，他说很危险什么的，然后他一直要我相信他说。就类似说，就是相信爸爸不会害你啊，然后什么的，然后我就会觉得我的那个兴奋感，或是那个想要去探险的那个心情就被打击了。对，OK, I'll tell you in English. I say, I just thinking about, thinking about my teenager when I was teenagers, and every time when I feel so exciting to want to tell my dad about my new plan. It's about maybe to take some risky or explore, like a ride scooter from Hualien to Taichung through the mountain way, or ride scooter around Taiwan or something. It's a really exciting thing, exploring experience. But my dad always say, that will be really dangerous. I really suggest you don't do that. It's really dangerous. You must be safe. Really trust me. I won't, I really love you. I won't make you into bad situation. A lot of things like that. Yeah. So even like he really want me to get the exam to be a government's worker, because he think that's the most stable job and way to in this society. Yeah. 然后接着我又想到一个，就是我爸一直从小到大，不是，就是从我大学之后，他就一直劝我去考公务员这件事情，因为他觉得那对他来说是他走过一辈子他认为最康庄的大道，所以他就觉得我应该要就是走在他认为就是最好的道路上这样子。
所以就是他支持你去做这个。
他支持我去做这件事情，但是我总是就是没有在他的期望之下，然后甚至就是后来我要做什么我都不告诉他，因为我知道他一定会反对我，所以我就宁可就是都做完了才告诉他这样。就比如说我骑完一圈回来，我才跟他讲说，我上礼拜去环岛或者我那个去跳伞什么之类的这一种。对啊。Yeah. So then I just don't tell him anymore. I just do it. And after I done it, I tell him, say, I just finished this.
Oh, so sort of becomes secret.
Yeah.
What you do becomes secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So anyone can relate to that? Does that sound familiar? Does that sound like something you know about?
I think it's like every parent is like that. Something dangerous or something like an unknown situation, they will say, oh, it's too dangerous, especially for the girl. I think.
Yeah.
还有谁要分享吗？
但我不知道这个算不算是，因为那个小时候啊，就是爸爸妈妈都会讲说，就是吃饭的时候不可以讲话，这个是嘛，就是不可以这样，不可以那样。然后就是女生就是要坐有坐相，站有站相，然后在客厅坐着沙发，反正就是不能躺着，就是一定要坐着正正的这样子，要规规矩矩的。我有想到这个。
算了，你可以自己翻译一下。
我不行啦，我那英文那么破，没办法。
Doris share about like when she was child and her parents will say, oh, you have to sit like a grace girl, and like you cannot speak during the eating time. Yeah. Something like the manners.
Yeah. And what happened if you did the wrong thing?
那如果你没有按照他们这样做的话，会发生什么事？
就是如果没有做好，就马上会被纠正啊，说，女孩子不可以这样做，你做好这样。
They will correct her directly.
然后就是吃饭的时候讲话，就会马上被制止说，吃饭的时候不可以讲话。
那你到现在都还是这样吗？吃饭没有讲话？
对。
哇，你跟那个
食不言，寝不语啊。
你到现在都还是这样，吃饭都不会跟任何人聊天？
不会。
Wow, she's still doing the behavior like don't chat during the eating.
So is that like don't talk at all, or is that don't talk when you are chewing your food?
你是只有你在嚼东西的时候不说话，还是你在整个用餐都不说话？
在嚼东西的时候不说话。嘴巴里面没有东西的时候就可以说话。
Only the chewing. Chewing.
Okay, well that's probably a good thing. You can say thank you to your parents. Yeah. Do you know the Buddha actually teach this?
老师说，那是其实是一个蛮好的。
对啊，
就是佛陀也有这样教导。
Yeah, it's one of the rules of the, in the Buddha's. Yeah, don't talk with your mouth chewing food.
Yeah.
So okay, so well, I can share one of my things. I think that when I think about disapproval, I feel there's one. I think that during my kind of like early teenage years, sort of like, when I'm sort of 12, 11, those years, I think maybe it's a little bit like Shanghui. It's like my feeling for that time is just that it really didn't matter too much what I wanted to do. I didn't get a lot. I didn't get approved of. It was like I didn't get support for that any kind of like direction. It all seemed to be too risky, too strange to my parents, too different. It was quite an alternative type of stuff I was into, or going out with my friends in the car. My feeling was that really the way my lifestyle was starting to look, I didn't get, my parents didn't really like it, but they didn't really offer me any kind of alternative. But that was my feeling. It was my feeling like I can't really share this with my parents. They don't like it. They're just going to give me, uncomfortable attitude. Yeah.
就是老师分享他的青少年时期也是觉得好像做什么都不被支持，然后不被赞同，因为可能就是他想要做的事情是比较奇特的，然后或是比较冒险的，然后所以他就有一种感觉，就好像就做什么都没有被父母那个赞同或是支持这样，然后而且父母也没有提供一些其他的选择给他，就只是
And I think when I think about earlier in my childhood, when I was really small, just very young, 2, 3, 4, really young, my kind of sense of that time for being, I think one of the things I always got punished for is just being too active, to just being too noisy, too much exploring, just being too much for my parents. And so if I was to explore, if I was to start doing something, shouting about something, it was always the feeling was no. This is England. This was in England, and my parents were pretty traditional, so maybe that's part of it. But it was like, just sit down in the corner and play by yourself and don't make any noise. That was my kind of, don't bother us. If you bother us, we don't like it.
就是老师还有想到，就是他好像不被允许太有活力，就是不能制造太多噪音啊，然后是去打扰到他的父母，就是他的父母会希望他是在旁边的角落自己玩自己的，然后不要制造任何噪音，就是不要做任何会影响到大人的事情。Yeah, I think it's common in all countries.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I think it could be that it has been something that has been part of most cultures. But I think what's happening now in the world, I think there is a bit of it's kind of almost like a revolution happening. Is that a lot of people everywhere are just saying, we need to express ourselves, we need to be ourselves, we need to find out who we are, and this is the kind of like the conditioning that has to be faced in order to do that. I think that's happening right now. I think it's a lot of that is going on right now.
Yeah, 就是老师说，现在其实有蛮多人是在改变，就是在改变这样的教养方式。然后其实世界各地也有蛮多人越来越支持，就是不一样的教养方式这样。
Okay. Does Amma or Bonnie, you want to share something? What is your kind of sense or your feeling about the idea of being approved of or disapproved of when you were a child?
I think all the stuff that brings me joy and happy, they are not allow me to do. Like eating snake or playing video games and playing online games with with the strangers or explore the sex. Yeah, they just all disagree about it in a negative way. Yeah.
Right.
就是我分享大概小时候觉得所有会让我有喜悦感或是快乐感的事情，几乎全部都是不被赞同的。比如说吃零食啊，他们就会骂你说你都不吃正餐，然后都一直在吃零食啊，或是可能是玩线上游戏啊，然后是跟朋友玩那种电玩啊，跟邻居玩电玩，然后是小时候对性很好奇嘛，可能会自己想要探索，然后就全部几乎都是不被支持的，这样就是叫我不要再这样做。
Does Amma want to say something? Or is that how you say your name?
阿玛就
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. 我想到一点，我刚刚想到，我不太记得以前我妈有禁止我做过什么，但我好像隐约我记得她好像有告诉我不要太骄傲。
不要太
对，不要太骄傲。她常常没有用这两个字，但是我觉得她的感觉是，可能我做了什么事之后，我觉得好像自己觉得自己很了不起，或者怎么之类的，她就叫我不要太骄傲。然后我有回想，我是刚才想到的，然后就觉得好像后来就是因为可能是有那种意识，就在潜意识里面，就后来就觉得自己好像做事都卡卡的，不太敢冲，然后都当老二都当老二。但是最近呢，最近我女儿，我不知道为什么，我想到，因为最近我女儿一直说，不管我做什么，她说妈妈你很臭屁，妈妈你很臭屁。一开始我听了会觉得很反感，但是后来因为我刚刚突然这样想了一下，我觉得可能我现在就是我妈妈那个魔咒解除了，所以我现在变得臭屁了，就是我敢表达，敢做我想要做的事，觉得自己很棒，很有价值。对，所以我女儿才会一直说我臭屁，然后我现在很接受，而且很喜欢，对，我就是臭屁。OK.
勇于展现。
对。
She said she remember her mother say to her, it's like, oh, don't be too proud of yourself. And so she is like, sometimes she want to do something and feel like it's stuck a little bit, yeah. But she realized now her daughter always say to her, oh, mother, you are so proud these days. So seems like she already break the beliefs.
Break free of that. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. So I think that well, if we think about that, I mean, because Shangwei said, the idea that I think I kind of got the idea that, you said your father wants you, saying, don't go scooter moto driving around Taiwan, too dangerous. I really love you. Don't do that type of thing. And I just thinking about that idea of like, the idea of love, being loved and supported, and how does that come into this idea of being approved of and disapproved of? And if we do the thing that if we do the thing that is sort of in us to do, like Bonnie, you saying, you know, what you want to do and what I wanted to do is I want to explore my life and have good experiences and see what life is about. And I'm feeling that if I do that, what's the cost to me, or what's happening for my, you know, experience with my parents when I do that, when I follow my own wanting, my own desire? You know, what is it that is that kind of like being seems to be at risk, or seems to be, you know, something that is maybe I'm going to lose? That's my question.
Unloved.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's look at that connection, because I think that is a really important connection.
就是刚刚大家有分享嘛，像刚刚妹有分享说，他爸爸会跟他说，我不会害你，所以你不要去做这么危险的事。然后或是像老师，他就是想要去探索他各式各样的事情，可是他的父母就会就是会叫他不要。然后这时候我们就可以去反思一下，就如果我们真的还是去做那些我们真的想要做的，或是我们就是内心渴望的事，那它背后的代价可能会是什么？就是大家可以去反思一下，或是我们害怕的这些代价。
Yeah, is in this disapproval, is there a feeling that this is connected to love? That if I go against what my parents are saying, or against the, you know, what the other is saying, is that going to risk my experience of being loved?
就是我们那些不被支持做的事情，会不会是连接到，就是好像这样我们就，如果我们做了就不会被爱了，是不是有这样的连接？
I don't feel it's unloved if I do that, but I feel guilty.
Okay.
I make them feel upset or disappointed. 我分享就是我如果执意去做我想要做的事情，可是他们是反对的，我不会觉得他们不爱我，可是我会觉得很有罪恶感，因为我让他们可能很难过，或是很失望，就对我失望这件事情。
Okay, I think that's important. Yeah. So that's why you hide what you're doing. Because you'd feel guilty, then
yeah.
So the idea of feeling guilty, then that's like feeling like you are doing the wrong thing. You're doing the bad thing. Then if they knew, they're not going to like it.
You get angry.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm a bad girl.
Yeah.
I don't follow them. Listen to them.
Yeah, you don't follow them. Yeah. Wow. So you disappoint. They would feel disappointed, angry. Bad girl. Yeah. Can anyone else relate to that?
就是大家觉得，如果你还是执意的去做那些行为，可能父母会有什么样的反应？那刚刚他们分享的就是可能会有内疚啊，然后愤怒啊，或是对你很失望啊，然后你自己就会觉得我是不是做错什么啊？
我想分享一下。我并不会觉得我父母亲，我妈妈这样讲我，然后会对他有什么影响。但是我觉得在手足之间， 对我比较有影响，就是关于骄傲这件事情。就是因为我2个妹妹嘛，我是老大，然后就觉得比如说自己各方面好像比较优秀的时候，会觉得对他们就相对之下他们好像就没那么优秀，那我心里就会有愧疚或者是那种不好意思就觉得会怕他们受伤，怕妹妹们受伤，然后怕他们会被拿来比较。对
哦
，yes，
she say still the pride issue is like she is not afraid of the reaction of her parent, but she is afraid of to hurt her sisters. It's like to hurt her younger sister if she is too too excellent and doing too good, and she is worried about, oh, maybe her mother will compare her with the sister, and then they will get more pressure of it.
Wow. Right. Okay. So that's sort of saying, okay, so trying to be successful in life and feeling, you know, proud about that. That's a good thing, right? Okay. But what you're saying is, if I'm too successful, then it would look bad for my sisters if they are not as successful. Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And or her parents will compare them, like, oh, your sister doing so good, and why you doing so bad, blah, blah, blah. Something like that.
So then the parents will use that to blame the sisters for not trying hard enough.
Yeah, and that makes her feel guilt about it.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. That's an interesting kind of, you know, dynamic process. Yeah. So I'm kind of curious then, how does that have any effect on you, Ama? Does that have any effect on, you know, how you function or how successful you let yourself become or feel?
所以玉涵老师问说，这样就是这个状况对你有什么影响吗？就是会不会阻碍你，就是活得很成功，还是有影响到你的成人，或是
我觉得这种状况有一直跟随着我，就是跟2个妹妹之间的感情，就他们会比较，就感受得到他们没有讲，但是会一直比较，甚至到了之后就是嫁人之后会有比老公的，对，就另一半，然后就觉得你就什么都好嘛，
就是
很 lucky
嫉妒你吗？
对，就是有这种心态。然后我自己也会有，好像比如说我们家有好事，我就不太敢跟他们分享。
就是很怕，
就是尽量不要让他们，对，尽量不要让他们有比较，就觉得自己比较差，然后我比较好的那种心态。不过到后来我也不管了，就是对，就是到我成人之后啦，我结婚生小孩之后，一开始就到孩子国小阶段，就都还有这种感觉，就到最近2、3年才比较完全释放。对。
She say this situation continue until now. It's like her sister will jealous she get a good husband or like a good life.
Wow.
So that make her, you know, if she got some good thing happen and then she doesn't dare to share to them.
Oh, okay. So you keep it secret. Yeah. Yeah, right. So you don't dare to share it to them, you know, you feel like you're a little bit guilty for doing okay. This is an important little point here. I think it has there's a related part to this idea that of if your life is of your life going good, there is a related part here with parents, and that is that one of the patterns that can happen is that our parents give us a message that can be, I don't want you to do better than me.
就是父母可能会在潜意识灌输我们，就是我不想要你做的比我还要好，或者还要成功。
Yeah.
对对对，就是这种感觉。我妈叫我不要骄傲的时候，我就有这种感觉。
哦，Yeah，
就是我比她看起来在家族里面优秀。
哦，
我有这种感觉，对，而且从小其实有这种感觉，对，妈妈好像不能比她好，对，就是这样，所以她叫我不要骄傲，对。
Yeah, she feel that way. When her mother say to her, "Oh, don't be too proud of yourself."
Right. Yeah. So and then so in that kind of pattern where we kind of like don't want to, because it's all connected to love. This whole thing, the whole thing of approval and disapproval, being accepted, it's all connected to love. And so if our parents gave us the message that we shouldn't do better than they did, maybe what does happen is that because the economy changed, you know, we might do better adjusted. We are so smart. We are so our consciousness is so good. Because we are a different generation, right? So we might do better. It might seem like we can do more successful, but actually it's just like adjust for the growth in the economy, and, you know, if you know what I mean, you know, so we actually didn't really do any better. But the point being is, though, the message that the parents can send is, don't do better than I did. Don't do better than us. You're not allowed to be more successful than we are. And if we start to become more successful, then what can happen is that we can just destroy that somehow. We just wreck it. You know, we say what's called sabotage it. And so we might climb above their level, but then we bring it back down again. You know, then we might climb above because we really want to do good, and then it comes back down again. And what will happen sometimes is that people won't let them get successful more than their parents until their parents pass away, until their parents die. Then they can let themselves become more successful after they're gone.
就是老师分享说，就是我们潜意识很聪明，就是你可能会因为不同的时代，然后有不一样的一些成功，但是你的潜意识可能就是会，比如说这几年，然后就赚很多钱，然后可能下几年又什么全部赔光，就是你会自己去那个平衡，然后就是可能你的总资产不会超过你的父母，然后可能有些人他就是会等到父母过世之后，他才开始可以就是有作为，或是有比较成功的事业这样。
Okay. So I think it's good to think about it. You know, you guys can think about this yourself. Think about the idea of being approved of, being disapproved of. And I think a good sign to look for is the feeling guilty. Because if we have that feeling of guilty, then we know that that's going to be connected to the idea of doing the wrong thing and being disapproved of.
就是你的那个内疚感可能会是一个指标，比如说你在做某一些事情，你会觉得内疚的话，它可能就是一个你的父母不同意你这样做的一个，就是不支持你的，有一个内在这样的状态。
Yeah. And so May said, important words when she was talking about her story with her father, the idea of disappointing people, because, the idea of being bad, bad girl, bad boy, the idea that you might make people angry or upset, these are all things that are happening. It's all about relationships, and it all comes back to our original relationship with our parents.
对，然后是像刚刚有分享说，你的父母可能会失望啊，或是生气啊，然后你在做这些事情的时候，他们可能就会觉得你不应该这样啊，你是在做错事，然后或是你是一个坏女孩，然后你是不好的，就是会有各式各样的这种投射，然后这个就会，其实我们说人际关系，其实它的源头都是可能我们跟父母的关系。
Yeah. And so it's good to also just, reminder, this is not, when we look at this stuff and look at the idea of, parents and what we learn from parents and our relationship with them, it's not about blaming parents. Parents do what they were taught to do, what they learned to do, what's in their consciousness from their parents, and it's just generation. We could go back and look at our grandmothers and grandfathers and see what they were doing and what type of life they had, and look at their beliefs and patterns. So it's not about blaming parents, because being a parent is a tough job, and there's not really any education how to do it. And we don't get psychological education about how to have a good life. We don't get that. So, it's just about understanding for ourselves, how can we change our own experience to be more like what we want it to be, and to not have guilt feelings, and to not feel like we have to, follow other people, what other people say.
就是老师说我们探讨这些并不是要责怪我们的父母亲，就是他们也只是在做他们意识里面，就是他们也只是在输出他们意识可能是来自祖父啊，或是曾祖父啊，他们的一些教养方式。然后而且其实当父母就是很辛苦，然后也没有人教他们怎么做，然后也没有专门的学科可以教他们说就是怎样可以过一个更好生活都没有，所以他们就是只能照他们的方式。但是我们要了解这些，是因为这样我们就可以看见我们内在的这些模式，然后可以去真正的去改变，朝着我们真正想要做的事情，然后并且不会感到内疚或是愧疚。Okay.
So I think one of the ways, so I think that looking for this is about looking at the feelings you have, looking at the feelings that we have in life. This idea of guilt. Guilt is a really important one, and I think it's good to look for when we experience it. And when we experience it, what are we doing? What happens to our thinking when we experience guilt, the feeling of guilt? What's it connected to? So let's just look at that. Let's straight away. So what do you think? Okay, you feel guilt. What are you thinking when you feel guilt? What's the thinking that's happening when you're feeling guilty? What are you thinking about yourself?
就是大家在想到什么，就比如说你在觉得内疚或是愧疚的时候，你脑袋里面的想法是什么？它跟什么连在一起？
I feel I hurt people. Like I hurt people.
Hurting people. Yeah. Yeah. So your thinking is, I am hurting people. I'm hurting someone, and you're feeling guilty. Yeah.
I think mine is like I'm not helping.
You're not helping.
I'm not helping today.
Wow.
我分享那个内疚，我联想到就是我觉得我好像伤害了别人。
So
然后邦尼是说你觉得你好像没有帮忙别人这样，
帮上忙，
没有帮上忙，yeah.
So what does hurting people look like then to you? Can I ask that? What is it? What would you be doing if you were hurting people?
Like I make them upset.
Yeah.
I make them disappointed.
Yeah. So what are you doing to do that?
Do what?
So how would you make somebody upset or disappointed?
Didn't follow their idea.
Okay.
Against them.
Right.
Or don't trust them. Maybe they think I don't trust them because I don't agree what they suggest.
Okay. So you're not doing what they say. So you're going against their ideas, and that's causing them to you think feeling them that, so they're feeling disappointed because of that.
Yeah.
And you're worrying you're hurting them because you're not following them.
Yeah.
Or accepting their thinking.
And so he said I worry I'm hurting them, and because I don't accept what they suggest, so maybe that will make them think I don't trust them, and then maybe that means I don't love them.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've gone from feeling guilty for thinking you're hurting them to them not following their idea, and then they're thinking you don't love them because you're not following their idea.
Because I don't trust them and I don't love them.
Wow. So there's quite a lot of stuff happening in there. And so Bonnie, what for you then? What's this, not helping people? What are you doing when you're not helping people? When you're feeling guilty for not helping? What is it you meant to be doing when you're doing that?
I think when they are fighting or like fighting or arguing or like have some punishment for my brother or just like the family is not too forgot the English word, too peace. Yeah.
Right. And you're feeling guilty when that situation is there because you think that you're not helping, you're not doing enough, and people are suffering in the family because of that.
I didn't help to do better or make the situation better.
Yeah. Okay. The situation's not peaceful and it's your fault because you didn't do enough.
Yeah. Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I make myself too important.
Yeah, you're taking too much responsibility there. You become the one who saved the family and you didn't do it, so you're not successful enough in saving the family. Wow.
Maybe I do some translation.
Yeah.
我刚刚是分享说，因为 Lois 说谈到罪恶感，我就想到，我好像伤害了别人，然后想到的就是，为什么我会伤害了别人？因为我好像让他们失望了，然后让他们失望，好像又连接到，因为我不采信他们给我的建议，然后这件事情好像又连接到，我不信任他们，然后接着连接到我不爱他们。所以我的那个罪恶感可能最终的连结是，我没有这样做，我是不是就是不爱他们？然后是不是就是害他们受伤，或是对于他们的付出是好像就是白费的那种感觉，这样。
就是不听他们的话，就是不爱他们。
对，然后他们对我这么用心，然后我还不领情，一点都不懂得感恩什么之类的，这样。那帮你要翻译你的吗？
我的比较像是，就是如果家庭里面会有那种不和谐啊，或是会有什么吵架啊，比如说妈妈会骂弟弟啊，或是妈妈跟爸爸吵架什么的，然后内在就会觉得很愧疚，我好像都没有什么贡献，然后没有办法就是去缓和他们啊，然后或是让家庭气氛可以比较好一点。然后我又突然想到，我好像把自己放在太重要的位置，就是太过度去承担这个想要维持家庭和谐的这个责任。就是自己会想要过度去承担的。OK.
Okay. So can others then also kind of relate and share something about that? I mean, the idea of, feeling guilty and what is it they're doing when they're, what are they guilty for? Something like that. When do they notice that?
还有谁要分享吗？就是什么样？OK.
我突然想到，因为我记得小时候就是我们家是很传统的家庭啊，会重男轻女，然后就有很多事情是女生不能做的，女生就是不能爬高啊，不能太活泼啊，不能像野孩子啊，然后就是这个不行那个不行，所以就是如果常常被纠正说这个不行那个不行的时候，我都会想说我是不是真的有这么不好，就是心里就会有一块我不够好出现。然后长大会变成说做任何事情好像就是没有办法自己做决定，好像要听到说要这样做我才能跟着做，这样因为有照这样做才能够好，因为我不容许自己做错了就好像就被知道说我不够好。然后就是也会朝着父母的期待这个方向去做，因为有照着做才会够好，这样子父母才会喜欢。我分享完了。
那你之前的工作他们喜欢吗？
之前的工作还 OK。
是啊，收入稳定。
对。
She shares she's from like a traditional family, and then they have many restrictions for girl. Like a girl shouldn't do this, shouldn't climb high, or shouldn't be too wild, and shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. And so she will feel like, oh, am I that bad, or am I good enough? And so they will always like correct her not to do that, not to do that. And then makes her like can only follow the parents' expectation or and make a decision for herself because
right. Wow.
friend do the wrong choice.
Yeah. Wow, that's I think that's, what you said there, Doris, that's really, I think that's the real center of this, what we're talking about. So that experience, I think, is what, I think this is what we have, even if we're not coming from the traditional family, it's a similar this thing. And so then from what it's, what you said there is that, from what I can understand, is that it becomes even difficult to make your own decision.
就是老师说你刚刚的分享也是这个章节算是蛮核心的一个重点。然后就是所以你这样就没有办法帮自己做任何决定嘛，就是都要等别人帮你做决定。
就是会变成要做任何决定之前就会比较没有自信，会觉得说这样子做好吗？这样子对吗？
那最后都是谁在帮你决定？
就是变成说，如果说比方说在工作上，然后有很多就是如果有机会来的话，我都会觉得说这个我能做好吗？就是会变成好像比较没有一个自信说，那这样子我可以独当一面把这些任务完成嘛。然后如果有很多可以表现的机会，我就会让他错过。
She say, it make her like feel no confident to choose for herself, like maybe have some great opportunity, and then she will think, oh, am I good enough to do it, or can I do it well? And yeah, so she just let the opportunity go, like
right.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, this is what this chapter is. You see this part here.
就是这个标题，信念会摧毁我们的自信心。
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, I think it's thanks for sharing that, Doris. I think that really catch it. I think that really catch it for most of us. So the result, what we could say there is kind of the learning. If you think about what's the big belief or the big lesson that we get out of that, or the rule that we get, and I think that is the idea that we have to do as we are told. We learn that we need to do what we are told to do. And that if we do what we are told to do, then we will get approved of, then we will get the love, then we won't feel guilty because we're doing what we were told to do.
所以这边有一个很大的信念的核心，就会变成说，我们只是去做那些我们被说要做的事情，或是我们反正就是听从别人的指令，然后这样我们就不会被责骂，然后不会被那个不被爱，然后或是我们就不会感觉内疚，然后就变成可能大家都只做就是别人觉得 OK， 或是你父母觉得 OK 的事情。
我可以分享一下，我觉得我是相反的，就是通常别人觉得我一定可以的事情，但我觉得我也可以，但是我就是不要做， 为什么会这样？
叛逆。
对，叛逆。我以前小时候都比较听话，后来长大才叛逆。尤其刚刚讲到愧疚，就是之前我会对我妈妈一直很愧疚，就觉得为什么我跟她都不亲，然后我就觉得好像我应该要去孝顺她，应该要回去看她，应该要打电话给她，但是我就是电话拿不起来，叫不想回家，就是很不想回家。那后来我其实真的我知道，因为我觉得她没有完全接纳我这个人，我现在的一个样子。那后来我就上很多课之后，我就跟他，我跟他越来越多话聊之后，我觉得他接纳我了，而且好像有点以我为傲。他讲过这句话，说我以你为荣这样，所以之后我才真的愿意回家，就比较心甘情愿的想要去看他，然后也比较没有愧疚了，对他就没有任何愧疚感。即使他现在还是会情绪勒索，就是常常说怎么都没有人要回来啊，怎么之类的，但我也不管他了。现在，对，
所以你是从几岁的时候开始不听他们的话？
我其实一直都不太听他们的话，可能我觉得真的是有感觉，就是觉得他一直想要我更好，或者是就他没有办法接受我现在的样子，然后我觉得自己很好的时候，他就觉得。对啊，很矛盾，对不对？因为刚才我就说他叫我不要太骄傲，然后又叫我可以更好，所以我就觉得很烦。对，
就是觉得你太骄傲呢，又觉得你现在还不够好，到底要怎样？
他会期望你，他觉得你可以更好，但是他每次这样想的时候，我就跟他唱反调，因为我内心知道你觉得我现在的我不够好，但我觉得我已经很好了。对。就是这种感觉，所以我现在对我的孩子也是，我就承认你们现在就已经很好了，我不会要求他们要更好，或者是就接纳他们现在的样子。对啊。
好哦，帮你翻译给老师。She say she feel guilty about the relationship between her and her mother. It's not close enough. And it's maybe because her mother is not fully accept who she is doing or who she is believing now. Yeah. But after she take a lot of class and she had more topic to talk with her mother, and then she can feel her mother is accept her, accept more of her, and then proud of her. But she also feel her mother is like, oh, you cannot too proud of yourself, and the same time she will say, oh, you can do better. Then
Can you say that again, Bonnie? The connection wasn't good for a moment. Just the end part there.
Yeah. Her mother is say to her like, oh, don't be too proud of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, she will say to her oh, you can do better than now.
Right. Okay. Don't be too proud of what you've done, but you can do better. That's tricky, isn't it? Yeah, that's tricky. It's tricky to understand. So that's like, well, okay, Mum,
what do you want?
How do I do that?
What do you really want? Just buy this book to her. What do you really want?
Yeah, but that does make things tricky. Yeah, difficult. I think this idea of being proud, proud of what we achieve, that's been a problem. That was a problem for me until, I realized it was a problem. I was reading a book, a psychotherapy book, and it was the book was kind of talking to me, and it was saying, it's okay to feel proud about the things you create in your life. It's totally okay to feel proud about your creations and what you manifest, what you create in your life. Totally okay to feel that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the book was telling me, the psychotherapy book was saying, for some of us, we never learned to let ourselves feel that. Mm. And we have to learn to let ourselves feel proud.
Yeah. 就是老师也是一直到他看到一本书，一本心理疗法的书，然后里面就很像在对他说，你可以对你所有的创造，然后或是你所有的显化感到骄傲，然后这个是 OK 的，你可以对自己感到骄傲，然后还有就是可能大部分的人其实都没有体验过，没有被人家说过这样也是可以的，就是觉得自己的创造是值得骄傲，是 OK 的。很少人有被这样说过。
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of for this last bit, I think that it's like we could sort of summarize, I think, this learning from being approved of, being disapproved of, feeling guilty when we do the wrong thing. I think that the learning, the thing we learn, the negative thing we can learn is like, and what Doris really showed clearly, I think, is the idea that the rule we learn, to be approved of, to get approval and to avoid being disapproved of. I think we get a general, because it's quite difficult. What do we do to get approval? Some things we get approval for. What do we do to get, what should we avoid to avoid disapproval? Well, we learn there's some things, but we're not really sure maybe. So I think that the idea of it's uncertain what we should do and what we shouldn't do to get approval and to avoid disapproval. So I think that you could say that, Bonnie, it's like, I think as kids that we find it's not always reliable what is going to give us approval and what is going to give us disapproval. It's not, a lot of the time it's not clear.
就是作为一个小孩，然后或是一直到现在，可能我们对于做什么事情是被允许或是不被允许的，它都是一种很不确定性，然后很模糊的一个地带。
Yeah. And so I think one of the ways we deal with that is that we work it out that the best strategy is to do as we are told.
所以我们潜意识就会自己生出一个最好的生存策略，就是只做我们被说要做的事情。做别人叫我们做的事。最安全。
So it's like the best way to feel safe, the best way to keep loved is to we follow the rule, or we follow what they tell us to do, what we are told to do.
And then if something happens, then you can blame them. Oh, it's me told me to do that. So I don't have to take responsibility for that.
Shengwei has a good point. Oh, you told me to do that, so it's okay. Don't blame me. You told me to do that. Which actually, yeah, that's probably parents hate that. To ask, I wonder if Alma's kids ever do that to her. So I think the point here is do as you are told. Okay, so let's just briefly, before we finish, let's just think about that for a moment. Let's just think about that. Say, what's the result of if we, maybe you can just explain this, Bonnie. What is it? If we internalize this belief, we just say we did, do as you are told. I mean, that's a full-on condition, right, for how to live. Do as you are told. If we believe that, we take it inside of us, and that's our rule. I must do as I am told. What's the consequence? What's that going to do for us? How does that affect us? My rule for living is do as I am told. If that's true, how's that going to affect us? What's going to be the result?
就是如果大家已经内化或是已经被植入这个，我就是只做别人叫我做的事情，或是我只遵守别人定的规则，那这样的后果会是什么？这样会有什么样的结果？Everyone do the same thing.
Well, that's okay. Everybody do the same thing. If everybody is listening to the same authority, yeah. Can we see some example of that?
Oh, when will you get married? Oh, when will we have a child? Something like that.
Yeah, could
Every Lunar New Year, everyone will have that question from the parents or families. Oh, why you don't get married? Oh, why you don't have a child?
Really?
Yeah. Because you get some age and then they expect you need to get married. And then after you get married, they expect you to have a child. And once you have the first child, they ask you, when will you get a second child? Something like that.
Oh.
说就是现在要过年了嘛，然后每次农历年节亲戚不是都会问吗？就是如果你到某一个年纪你还没有结婚，他就会说你什么时候要结婚啊？那如果你结婚，他就问你什么时候要生小孩啊？那你如果生了第一个孩子，他就问你什么时候要生第二胎啊？这种，对 ，Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot of pressure in that. I guess people feel a lot of pressure in that. And I guess people then perhaps they'll be feeling guilty when they don't do that.
Feel they have to fight.
Yeah. Okay. They got to fight back to try to say, hey, so that's the other side of this. That's when we say, oh no, I'm not going to do as I am told.
Yeah.
And that has a result. Yeah. So let's just look at this a little bit then. So if we accept this idea that we must do as we are told, so I think the first thing is, like as Doris pointed out, right, our decision making is going to be a real difficult. Because making a decision is about deciding what we should do. And if we think we need to do as what we are told to do, then we will be waiting for somebody to tell us what to do. We will need that. We will look for it. We will look for direction.
就是大家如果一直都是这样觉得只做别人叫我做的事情我才会做的话，那你可能就是在做很多决定的时候就会没有办法下决定，然后是你就会期待有别人告诉你要怎么做，然后你才会去做。
Yeah, so I think in that situation, we don't develop confidence in our own decisions.
所以这样就没有办法发展自己的自信心。
Yeah. Even when we have the feeling that we know what we should do, maybe we don't listen to it strongly enough.
就是尽管你可能已经知道自己想做什么，可是你可能就会选择不去听，或是忽略它这样。
Yeah. So I think this is really important, because I think this is what it is to become sort of like an adult, separate from our parents, is that we have to reject this idea of do as you are told. And I think that's probably one of the scariest things for us to do. This is where we have to say, okay, well, look, I'm not going to follow what other people tell me to do. I'm going to try and work it out what I need and what I want for myself, even though I will feel uncomfortable, even though I will have not much confidence in the beginning, even though I might make mistakes and go the wrong direction, I'm going to start to learn to follow myself.
所以这是对大家来说可能会是一个很大的挑战，就是你要怎么样去放下这个只听别人说什么，然后你就做什么的这个潜意识规则，然后开始去为自己做选择，然后为自己问自己我真正想要的是什么，然后我想做什么，然后即便可能一开始你会觉得很不舒服，然后是还没有自信，但是不管怎么样，都还是要对，就是把这个选择权拿回来。
Anyone want to say something about that?
大家觉得要开始这样做吗？ Sorry.
已经开始做了。
Ama say already doing that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I starting with not wearing bras. Already 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah.
Save me a lot of money.
Well, you know, in America, they had the whole, I don't know if that happened here. I'm sure it wouldn't have happened here. Yeah, the burning the bra thing was like, you know.
Bra sport everywhere these days.
Yeah. Yeah, this was the 60s, 1960s, 1970s. That was the thing, because it was seen as a kind of like a controlling women.
Yeah, even in Japan, like someone they don't wear bra and then they just go take public transport. They just want to show everyone I have 2 points. And it's more popular these days.
Yeah, I think it's been popular in Western countries for a long time. Yeah. Okay, there you go. So we can think about this, you know, and it will affect us all to different levels and in different ways. You know, so I think we can think about the key words, you know, approval and disapproval. What do those words mean in our life? Being approved of, being disapproved of. Am I disapproving of myself? I think this is really, really important. Am I disapproving of myself, or am I really accepting myself? Or am I judging myself? Am I saying I'm bad? Am I saying I'm guilty? Am I saying I'm doing the wrong thing? Because this is just the voice in us that we have accepted from, you know, our childhood and from society. We need to really look at that and know what that's doing. You know? So the idea, you can think about that. Ask yourself when you're just going around in life, am I disapproving of myself? or am I accepting myself, approving of myself? Because I think it's really sad if we live our whole life and we got this voice saying that we're not okay.
就是老师建议大家可以常常问自己说，我有够支持自己吗？然后我有够接纳自己吗？因为就是如果你一辈子都觉得自己是不 OK 的，它是一件蛮悲伤的事情。
Yeah. And then so we can think about those two words, disapproval and approval, but we can also feel, notice our feelings about guilt, feeling guilty. I think that's really important to notice that. Notice when we feel guilty. Notice what it feels like to feel guilty, because feeling guilty is one of the more horrible feelings that we have. And we will really try and run away from that. And so if we feel guilty, it can push us into doing as we are told. Or not making the decision we want to make.
就是大家可以真的去感受一下，你在什么时候会有这样的内疚或是愧疚感，因为它对人类来说是一个很强烈，然后一个很不好的感觉，所以大部分的人都会试图要去避免，或是避免产生内疚，然后所以你可能就会去做别人叫你做的事情啊，或是你可能就会去做你不想做的事情，只是因为你不想要感觉到愧疚。
So when we do notice we are feeling guilty, we can ask ourselves, we can try and find more detail. Like we can say, well, what is it I think it is? What am I doing that I think is guilty? What is it that I'm doing that is bad or wrong? What is it that I'm doing that I'm feeling guilty for? And then we can kind of explore it, like May and Bonnie did. You know, May says, she's feeling guilty because she feels she's hurting people. You know, and say, well, what do you mean hurting people? Well, not doing what they want. Well, what's that? It's like, okay, so they're making them feeling disappointed. So you're kind of hurting people by making them feeling disappointed. And then the idea, if they feel disappointed, then they're not going to love me. You know, so we can get all those little steps, right? And Bonnie says, you know, she's feeling guilty because she's not helping. But there's more deeper than that. It's not, I'm not helping make the peace. And so I'm causing people suffering because I'm not helping by helping them to make more peace. And then as to do, well, I'm responsible for other people's suffering in my family. So, you know, we can unpack it a bit.
对，就是大家可以从你如果什么时候觉得有愧疚的时候，你就可以去回推，你是做了什么，然后你是怎么想的，为什么做这件事情是不好，会让你有愧疚感，你可以慢慢的去回推，然后它是会一层一层更深更深的。
So we can actually think along something like this. We can actually reject feeling guilty.
Reject feeling guilty.
Yeah. So we feel guilty, right? But if we look at that and we think, well, what am I feeling guilty for? I actually didn't do anything wrong. So I'm rejecting feeling guilty. I'm not willing to feel guilty anymore.
就是我们也可以拒绝这样的愧疚感。就我到底是做了什么？我没有做什么啊，为什么会觉得愧疚呢？这个真的是属于我的吗？
Yeah. So it's like we go back to our family's house, we walk in, we have a cup of tea, and we think, oh my goodness, I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling I did the wrong thing. And we say to ourselves, sorry, I'm not accepting guilty anymore. you know, and we continue with that and refuse to accept guilty.
But also we have to accept all our feelings.
That's different. We are accepting our feeling and we explore it and we want to understand it and we want to fully make contact with the feeling of guilt. That's different. But feeling guilty because of blah, 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 we refuse. So yeah, we have that feeling and we go, oh, I'm feeling guilty. And okay, I can explore that feeling in me, but I'm refusing to feel the guilt. I'm not guilty, I'm innocent. And that feeling of guilt, it tells me something. It just tells me that I have this old belief system that says I'm a bad person. Yeah.
老师这边说的拒绝比较像是通常你有愧疚感出现的话，它通常就来自于你一个比较小时候是比较古老的信念，那它通常都是可能是不真实的或是一个谎言，就是你可能相信自己是很糟啊，你可能相信自己是一个坏小孩啊，你可能相信自己是一个错误，它是来自于我们这种比较毫无逻辑的，或是小时候形成的一个信念。那我们可以在当下发生的时候，然后有觉知的去探索它，然后去观察怎么会有这样的感觉。但是我们不需要就是被这个愧疚感就是整个陷在里面这样。
I think it's like what you said the other day when we were talking, Bonnie, is like if we feel guilty, we can be pretty sure we're good people. The people who don't feel guilty are the ones who are not very nice.
就是我昨天就问老师说，那愧疚感是从哪里来的？然后老师就说，因为我们在我们之内都会是有一种善良，然后一种光明的这种本质，那所以通常会觉得愧疚，通常都是好人，就是坏人他们根本就没有任何的愧疚感、羞愧感，完全都没有。大家自己去想一下，是不是这样？
Okay. So how was that subject, that topic? What do you think about that? And we'll finish.
好哦，还有其他人要分享的吗？对于今天的这个探讨有什么心得？现在可以分享，不然我们要结束了。
No. Well, thank you everyone for being here. I think it's good. It's really appreciate it.
Thank you.
谢谢大家今天参与我们的讨论。OK.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy that. Got something from that.